Hey, hi. So I've not been making super much progress this week. I've been back home on Maui and yeah, just busy and everything, spending time with family and working and all that. So yeah, so like my last vlog was from Monday and now this one's Friday. So that's kind of what's going on with me at the moment. Let's see, I have like an hour or something before we have to leave. So I think I'm gonna try to work maybe 40 minutes or so. I think what I want to start with is I want to draw a little bit of terrain on my iPad. So I'm gonna try to do the hyperlapse on my phone first. And then, yeah. And then I'm gonna try to like put it in on the app itself. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do for the next 40 minutes or so. So make a few drawings for some of the planets of like the terrain, such that like when the character's there, and then yeah, and then put them in. So it shouldn't be like a whole bunch of work or anything, but yeah. This is Cleo the cat. Okay. Oh no. Anyways. Oh my gosh, I almost got hit by the tree. Okay, so let's see. I meant to draw for like 45 minutes and I completed the terrain for the crater planet. So my next plan is to put that into the prototype soon. And so I want to get together this MVP and try to ship just something, I guess, soon. Soon. Maybe by like sometime next week or something. But yeah, so the terrain part is done, so I just drew that. And yeah, it should be pretty simple, like to just get the SVG files in. So I've made like a terrain that goes kind of like in front of the character as it's walking, and like then there's like the behind terrain, which is like the mountains and stuff with like all the craters on it. So I think that'll help make the scene look kind of complete. I think probably I'm gonna want to do like a sky or something as well, with like maybe the moon or some stars or something in it, but I'm not completely sure how it's all gonna look together or if it's gonna be too busy. So I just started with like regular terrain. But yeah, that is what I've worked on today. And next, I guess, Cleo. Next, yeah, I think in a little bit, we're gonna be going over towards Wailea, and there's a good Starbucks there that I might just work at for a little bit and do the coding part. So yeah, that was the drawing part done, and that took the full 45 minutes because I'm kind of like not very good at time management. But yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so I have notes here so that my brain doesn't wander too much. And also, I think I'm going to put like the, what is it, the screen capture of like the app progress so far over here and just keep that looping because I think that's more interested than just hearing me talk. Okay, so my notes are, so I think I mentioned before in the kind of like midpoint clip that I went to Wailea to work on some stuff, but like I was working on other stuff. So when I came back here, that's when I was working on the app again. So that's why like it's just back at this same table. And then yeah, so I worked on the app for 4 hours and 15 minutes today. For like at the table after Wailea. So that actually brings it here. I'll just skip ahead a little bit. If you combine that with the 45 minutes of drawing from earlier, then that means that I've worked 5 hours today on the project, which is cool. I think that's the most hours that I've been able to clock any day so far, so that's awesome. Okay, so the first half an hour for when I got back here, and I was like, again, mostly I was working on coding, but the first half an hour of that block of the time lapse that you would have just seen was, yeah, tracing all these SVG paths, because I wanted to give, you know, like the terrain files that I had drawn, I wanted to give them some solid background or surface colors, because I wasn't sure, yeah, how they would display in the app and everything, but then it ended up not actually being necessary. So I spent like 30 minutes tracing them and then like, yeah, filling in the solid background, and then I ended up not needing to do that. And it like, yeah, at least for the background, the like little like mountain thing that I had going on with the for the crater planet, it was like, I think it was definitely slowing things down. So yeah, I got rid of the background that I spent a long time tracing. Let's see. Oh, okay, so like I said, the drawing part was about 45 minutes. I think the screen, what is it, time lapse here would have been like very, very short. But if you're interested in seeing like the full video, because that one was taken on my phone and on my iPad, so it was actually a full video, I actually have like a draw with me video that I made. So if you want to hang out and draw for 45 minutes with me with a little bit of background music, very poorly edited, because again, my laptop sound card or audio chip, audio board does not work. So while I'm editing, I can't even hear myself. I don't know what's going on. So speaking of such, let's see. This is my cue that yeah, that I'm gonna put the draw with me video thumbnail right here. Again, because when I edit on my computer, I cannot see. So this is my cue to myself. I don't know how long I should keep this up for. Anyways, so that's how I know what I'm talking about here. Okay, so today's coding progress. First, I brought in the terrains. So after I spent forever tracing out the solid backgrounds, and then I ended up not needing that anyways. I exported the SVGs. I brought them in. They looked great. I sized them properly, managed to stack everything. It took a little bit of trial and error, but it was like, okay. So yeah, I managed to stack everything. So I put everything in a stack, and like the character is a position element, and then the kind of like the foreground sort of terrain. So like if the character is down towards the screen, this foreground terrain is like kind of in front of them. Those are both positioned elements. And then they needed something to like use as like a height reference. So I don't know if hard coding it this way is a good idea or not. I don't completely know how this all works, because I'm pretty new to like Flutter and everything, and I don't know how it's gonna look on my phone, and I want to try that at some point and see how it looks on my phone, because I've only been viewing it on my laptop. But yeah, so what I did was I imported in the kind of the background, like the sort of like crater mountain thingies. And then I'm gonna move this way just in case I'm getting in the way of my little screen capture. So like the crater mountain thingies, I basically I blew them up kind of big so that they'd be like the background, and then I put a whole bunch of space underneath it with like a big container, and then that big container I put like a gesture handler, like a gesture detector, so that when you tap on that, it can tell like where you've like, it gets the coordinates, the global coordinates of where you've tapped on that. And that's important because that's how I ended up animating the character. So I just started with like animating the character so that when you tap the character moves a little bit. But then I was like, okay, how about I just actually animate it now? So I animated the character so that when you tap on this kind of like central area, this container underneath the mountains and above the foreground, then the character will move to that point. So that part's good. So like when the user is like on their phone or something and they tap, the character moves to the point that they tapped at. So that is important. After that, I started animating like and moving the foreground terrain so that like when the character goes to the edge of the screen, say on this side, then as long as like the foreground terrain is not like at the very end, then what happens is a button shows up towards the top that's like, you know, next or like continue, and so they can go to the next kind of screen. The thing is that actually right now I'm just moving the alignment of the the foreground terrain, the background terrain, but I'm actually going to take that terrain and I'm going to split it up into a bunch of smaller SVGs because it's a very big SVG, I guess. I think it's a big file just in general because of like the way that I drew it, and honestly right now I don't think the character has to have this continuous thing where they go and then like everything shifts and moves. I think instead probably they can just go to the next kind of like page, so to say. So that's what I'm working on next, is that you know, they get to the, like currently they get to the edge of it and then the alignment changes and they're like on the next page but nothing's actually changed. I'm just gonna replace the SVG with the next SVG file because again it's like really slow to load right now. What I wanted to do was a continuous movement where the character keeps moving and then the mountains and stuff move too. But then I was like, well, that's kind of unnecessary. I'll just like, right now there's a button. And maybe in the future what I'll do is I'll do some sort of listener or something so that if the character reaches the end of the screen, then it just goes on to the next page. But I don't think we have to like keep that file so big and just like have it all there. Like, I think that's kind of unnecessary. Just have each thing be like a separate kind of screen or whatever going on. Anyways, so let's see. Program thing. Where's okay. Oh. Interesting. Okay. What else? Oh yeah, so for the character, I use this thing called animated position, an animated position class. It does not include an animation controller, which is, I don't know, not nice. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like, it's supposed to be an easy class to work with, or an easy widget, kind of one of the built-in Flutter ones. Again, I'm not a Flutter expert, I don't really know that much. But I was using that, not very controllable. I was trying to switch over to, what is it called? Position transition, but I just could not get it to work, and I ended up just going back over to the animated position class that I had started with. It was just like, the problem was the relative rectangle and figuring out, I don't know how to size everything correctly. It just didn't work out so well for me. The reason why I wanted the controller though was because I wanted it so that like when the animation is complete, I wanted it to fire off a call to the function that does already move the background, like the mountains. So I thought that would be really cool, but I couldn't do that. Maybe I'll fix it next time, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just do something else. I don't know. Okay, I've got high points and low points here. Almost done. High points. Oh yeah, so I'm enjoying learning Dart. Some of the Flutter classes, because they're so similar to each other, are kind of like confusing because you have all these different things to animate, but they're all like a little bit different. Stuff like that is a little bit confusing for me, but what I like about Dart itself is that it's object oriented, and I like object oriented programming languages. I like working with objects. It makes a lot of sense to me, so that's cool. And then, oh yeah, I like to see like my drawings become interactive. This is kind of cool. Like, you draw something and then suddenly like it's an interactive thing on screen, so that's really fun. Let's see, low points. Mostly just not enough hours in a day. Like this project is a little bit slow going. Obviously I need to prioritize like my real work and everything first, like my real job and everything. And so like it's one of those things where like I think my progress on this is like a little bit slow. I'm like doing everything very gradually. Again, I didn't even have a character moving around until today. And like the character moving around is kind of important, but yeah, so that's like that. But honestly, like even though it's like slow going, it's still fun, and I feel like I'm definitely the kind of person that like I'd just rather take my time on stuff like that. So in terms of like Shipaton stuff, like I don't know if I'm really going to be shipping something next week. Probably not. If I ship something really rudimentary, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. But I think it's just kind of more the experience is fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see how far I get, because again, within 5 hours, I feel like I made a lot of progress. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to be too stressed or too like, yeah, type A about any of it. I've got enough things to worry about. So yeah, and that is my update. That is all my notes. Thank you so much for watching.